Microphone's on now. What's up, everyone? If you're here early, thanks for being here. And if you're watching in post, thanks for taking the time to come back and watch this. My name is Pedro. I am the GM and creator of a podcast called World Walkers. It is basically a D&D 5th edition podcast of dreams and nightmares where I try to tell a very serious story and the players don't. No, I've described it before as Lord of the Rings, but funny. So, hey, what's up, Chloe? I did one of these recently and I had a lot of fun. So I'm going to try to do this a little more often. I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Bambury? I don't know exactly the shape this is going to take. Is my vent open? I apologize if there's some background noise. I think I've got enough set up on here to cancel it, but we'll see. Yeah, I really enjoy doing these kind of live streams, these kind of just hanging out and talking. So we'll see what kind of shape this takes. Before I was running games during it, and depending on the game, it's really fun. But I don't know, something about there's always things in front of me blocking me from just hanging out and talking. So I'm trying this format out to see what it's like. So I got a little docket of things that I'm going to try to work through, but also I don't know when there's going to be an interruption. Willow, my daughter, is doing e-learning, as most parents understand. So she might, boom, Kool-Aid man through the door. But I think we got a bit of time to hang out and talk. So let's see. The first thing I was going to bring up is this is for those that are interested in personal health kind of issues. I went to Chicago yesterday, and that's where any of my major health issues I go to Chicago for. So dealing with my cancer, Chicago. Right now, I've got a fracture in my femur, my left hip. Excuse me. And so dealing with that, and I have been told, like, since my hospital visit last month, I have been told to put practically no weight on my left leg. I've been warned, honestly, if you want to know, that a break in my left leg. Here we go. What's going on, Brian? What's up, dude? Here we are. Yes, Willow.
Do you want to visit my space picture?
Yeah. You know I'm streaming though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me see. This is awesome.
It's just not Holland.
Yeah, well, this is just the rough draft, remember? So you don't have to. This is really cool, baby. Are you writing up a little story about why all this works? For your notes? You don't have to.
I'm not actually writing it yet.
Okay. That's really great. Keep working, okay?
This is the car.
I love the car. It looks great. Keep working, okay?
It has 9 rares.
9 wheels is ridiculous. We will have to talk about balancing your car. I love you. I'll see you later. They said hello, Willow. All right, cool. So, a good thing I didn't say what I was going to say yet. They have previously warned me that if I were to break my leg, they told me in the hospital if I broke my leg, it would result in death. So that didn't make me nervous at all. And they kind of backpedaled that a little bit. And they're like, well, you wouldn't die immediately, but it would lead to your death within a X amount of days or weeks. Real vague on why that would happen. They just said it would be like the beginning of the end for me. And so I've been like terrified for a month of doing anything wrong. So I've been like as careful as possible. And when I was in the hospital, I got to meet with my oncology team. I got to meet with the on-site hospital roaming oncology team. I met with palliative care. I met with a whole bunch of people. But the reason that I was there, in part, was because of that femur. Never met ortho. Never met anyone bone-related. So yesterday was my first time actually talking to somebody who was involved in my broken femur. And when I spoke about the doctor I was going to go see, every time I brought his name up, everybody got excited. And they said, oh, you're going to see him. He's the bone cancer king. They spoke with him in high reverence. So when I finally got to meet him yesterday, I was excited. And he actually was pretty laid back. And it was interesting to have a conversation with him and learn his approach to everything because, and I'll cut to the chase, I'm doing really well, actually. In fact, I'm doing so well, he thinks that we're being way too overly cautious with the way that I move around. I've got a walker, and the way, it is pretty wild, Bam. I have a walker, and I have to keep just my toes. Doesn't the Bone Cancer King sound ominous as shit? Like, I should have thought of that title. The walker, what I have to do is I have to like put the walker forward. I have to keep my left foot as far up as possible and let only the toes touch the ground as I slide or hop with my right foot as I can. Guys, my right side hurts. Like I'm putting all my weight on my right side. So my left side feels great. My right side is very sore and painful. We're gonna get to pain in a second. But talking with him, he was like, if it's a short distance, you could probably just walk. And he said the same thing that I say all the time. I could totally put him in a World of Walkers game. I could put him in Carmack. Yeah, City of Death. Bone Cancer King. I love it. He said the same thing I do. I don't like taking pain medications. I take the smallest amount possible because to me, pain lets me know when something's wrong. And so when I talk to him, he's like, you need to start walking a little bit more because we've got to know if there's pain. Like that's how we're going to know how things are going. He's going to tell you to the beginning of the end. He said the same thing that I've always thought, which is like, you need to use the pain to tell you how you're doing. In fact, what he told me was, he's like, we have all these CT scans and x-rays and stuff, but they don't help nearly as much as talking to me because the way that I describe my everyday life, the way that I describe the sort of pain that I'm in, all this stuff, he's like, that's what's going to give us the whole picture. Like I can see a picture of your crack and say, oh yeah, the femur's cracked. But we don't know exactly what that means until we really start getting context. So when he learned that the other day, Willow screamed, and without thinking, I got up out of my chair and I walked over there as fast as possible. Come to find out, she was mad at this web program called Extra Math because it was like hard. So she was okay. But like, he asked me if it hurt. I said, no, it didn't. It didn't hurt like on my left leg at all. My right leg's sore because it's just doing all the work, but my left leg felt fine. He's like, okay, good. So where we're at with this is that I can start walking a little bit more. I can use my rolling cart, my rollator, which if you want to see, actually, it's right here. I don't know if I'm gonna go get it in the frame. It's this cool little cart. It's got a little basket on it, so I can put whatever I need to, and it's got these cool brakes, so like I can stop it from moving, which is really helpful. It's a lot easier than the walker, but I can also just walk if I'm careful. That's like extremely good news. It sounds like a perfectly relatable reaction from Willow. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, the problem is that, like, on this extra math, there's this guy, and he's like, hey, how's it going? We're going to go ahead and get started real quick. And, like, he just, I guess, was moving too fast for Willow. And, like, she was like, oh, and I went in there. I was like, what's going on? She's like, I hate him. I hate him so much. And I was like, I hadn't heard that my daughter hated anything yet, so that was new. Anyway, so really good news on that front. I'm really excited. But the second thing that happened, I'm in more and more pain every day because I'm on 2 sets of medication. So I've got a set of pain meds that have been, and I've got prednisone steroids. Now, when they figured out the math on what I should be on, it was based on the idea that I would be on 100 milligrams, I think, whatever the measurement is, of steroids, which is a lot, right? So based on that number, they put me on this much when it comes to pain medication. Problem is, every week, they're dropping me more and more on the steroids. So the pain is getting worse and worse. Like, sometimes it hurts just to sit, and it always hurts to move, and it's getting worse and worse. And it's just like being in constant pain. It's terrible. I think I'm pretty good at putting up with it, and I'm really good at hiding it. It's like right now, I'm in some pain. Hopefully no one can tell, but I am in some pain. And it's just like, just how it's going to be. I can't, I got to learn to continue being able to do the things that I want to do. It doesn't matter if I'm in pain or not. When I called the hospital to ask them to reevaluate my pain medication, I got this guy who called and said, well, you have a meeting with the doctor on Thursday, so just talk to them then. And I said, I'm calling you now. Why? I'll be on the phone with them, right? I'm on the phone with you now. Let's just do the thing now. And he's like, oh, well, I can't. You're going to have to talk to the doctor. And I said, I called that doctor. Who are you? Like, if you can't do anything, why did you pick up the phone and go through the effort of calling me if you can't change anything? So here's a fun tip for you all when it comes to hospital stays, if you ever need this tip. I learned this yesterday. If they prescribe medication to you in the hospital, and then you have to talk to another doctor later about refills, that doctor cannot give you the refills. Only the doctor in the hospital. But you can't reach the doctor in the hospital. So this guy acted like he was completely helpless, and I had to talk him through how to get things set up. So hopefully Thursday I get refills on my medication. If I don't, Friday will be a very terrible day. And if they don't get to me on Friday, the weekend will be a very terrible weekend because I don't have pain medications after that. So we will see what happens. But that was my trip to Chicago yesterday. Here's the cool thing. Guys, I'm an extrovert. I'm a hardcore extrovert. I love talking to people. I mean, I turned the camera on just to talk. I didn't even know if anyone was going to show up here today, but I was still going to talk. That's how much of an extrovert I am. Pretending people are there is enough to sustain me for a bit, I guess. yesterday was the first day I got to leave my house in a long time. And it was absolutely amazing. I was stuck in a wheelchair, driving around, pushing myself around. I mean, Jess was with me, you know, but finally being able to leave the house, like we got into the car, and we drove. We got a coffee on the way there from Dunkin', and like seeing everyone there, the staff, and them remembering me, going, "Where have you been?" And me going, "Cancer." Oh, then the conversation kind of died. But no, I didn't say cancer. But like being outside, talking to people again is amazing. Like it really gave me a emotional boost that I needed because like we're all quarantined, we're all hopefully doing our parts, but it's different when you know you could leave. I can't. I can't drive. I'm not allowed to drive anymore because the medication I'm on counts as narcotics. So if anything happened at all, it would be considered a DUI, and I would lose my license. So I'm not allowed to drive. It's different when you know you can't leave. You know, like staying inside doing your part really fucking sucks after a while. But at least you could if you wanted to. Thank you, Brian. It was really awesome. It was a good time. So yeah, being able to get out, drive around. I didn't drive, but I was being driven. It was great. I don't know. It really, really helped. It kind of got me all amped up and charged up on I don't want to say life exactly, but like it kind of let me feel like my old self again. Like feeling like I'm in control again and feeling like, okay, so what do I want to do? Like feeling more confident. I don't want to say cocky, but borderline cocky. Like, okay, so now what? What are we going to do? I'm back in. Like, this was a major step for me to be able to finally understand what's happening with me, get some good news for once. Guys, I've got nothing but bad news at the hospital for about 2.5 months. Every time I go, I get worse news. Your medication is not working. We can't stop the spread of this cancer. This cancer is you're not going to die tomorrow, but when you die, it will be because of this cancer. You're never going to cure it. It's terminal. God, like nothing but bad news. So to finally get some good news yesterday, there's a chance my leg could completely there's a chance my leg will never heal, but there's also a decent chance, it seems like, that I'll make progress on my healing. That's amazing. Like finally some good fucking news, man. Yeah, because it's been nothing but bad for 2.5, 3 months. Just every time I talk to the doctors, something terrible. Like I said, I don't know. I think it was in the update, but this, my cancer is terminal. Like every time we do something good, we're resetting how much time I have. But like one day, this is it. Unless someone comes up with something brand new, which they are. They're always coming up with something brand new. But to finally get some good news just felt good. So I've been kind of like running on that kind of amped up energy, and that brings me to the other thing I want to talk about is, I want to decide, is it nothing, Kilobi, nothing like a pandemic to make you find out how much of an extrovert you are? Absolutely. I think I've said this a number of times. I'm not ashamed to admit it. When the pandemic first hit and I was stuck inside for a long time because we were really afraid of like me being like immunocompromised possibly and all this stuff, like we didn't know what it was going to be like. So I had to stay inside. And like there were days where I would come into my office, I would lock the door and I would crawl under my desk and just shut down. I couldn't stand it. I can't stand not talking to people, not being outside. Like it was extremely hard Like, and opening up and talking about that. You know, I've shared that story and I've gotten similar stories from other people. It's been hard on all of us. But now I feel amped up. I'm excited, and I wanted to. I think I put this on Twitter. Was it yesterday? I feel charged up, but I also feel like focused. I want to really figure out what kind of stuff that I make people actually care about. People want to invest in. Like, I don't want to make like let's call it a newspaper comic, right? I don't want to make the equivalent of a newspaper comic where like you open it up, you read it, you go, and then you move on with your life. I can do that. I can make those kinds of comics. I can make something that makes you like, nice, and then you move on and you never think about it again. I don't want to make that kind of content. Like, I want to make something that comes out and you go and you kind of it hits you and you're like, oh my god, I fucking love this, or oh man, that was heavy, or I gotta talk to someone about this. Like, I want to make something and I want it to have an impact. And to be honest, I want to be able to see the impact. Like, I just do. I don't know. Like, I want to be able to see buy-in because I've got a lot of ideas, guys. I got like, any of you that have had to listen to me fucking talk for more than 5 minutes knows that I've got like all these stupid ideas and I want to make this podcast and this podcast and this podcast. And like, I'm at the point now where I want to do the thing that people are most into. And that means I'm reevaluating like everything. So like, here's an example, here's how hardcore it is. Here's an example. World Walkers, right? I'm doing World Walkers. If World Walkers were to keep going on and I couldn't tell that anybody was listening to it, like the Patreon still goes on, I still get my money and all that, but people just stop talking about World Walkers, I would rather cancel World Walkers and do something completely different that people are invested in and want to put some skin in the game. Like, I'm at that point in my life where when I first kind of started dealing with cancer, I created this kind of romanticized idea in my head of, you know what? One day someone's going to come and find World Walkers. It's going to just exist out there. And they're going to go, oh my God, what is this? Hey, James, what's going on? What did I miss? I just recapped. I got good news about the fracture in my leg. I'm able to kind of keep moving around. They're encouraging me to move more, actually. So I finally got good news at the doctors. And now I'm just talking about like looking forward and trying to decide what kind of projects I want to focus on. So that's about the catch up. Brian, it's old news now, but I love the newer explanations of extrovert, introvert. Extroverts gain charge while in the company of others and discharge when alone, vice versa. Yeah, I need to be around people. For me to relax, like if I'm out at a party, back when I used to have parties, for me, coming home alone sucks. I would rather bring people with me, maybe a few less people, and that's how I relax. I don't ever relax alone. That does not help me ever. Jess is an introvert, hardcore. Like, Jess recharges when they're alone. And then they can spend some, they do enjoy the company of others and they can kind of have fun, but they're greatly, they're spending a lot of energy to do so. And once that's done, they need to be alone. They need time to recharge, definitely. Yeah. What I was saying, James, is, James, I personally really hate those definitions, I guess terms in general. Too many people say they're one or the other as a weird point of pride. James, I can kind of dig that a little bit. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this possibly, but I'm kind of here's what this is where I might get in trouble. I won't put it in text because I think text is too easy to misinterpret. Make sense? Here's how I feel honestly about this stuff is that sometimes I get a little sad that the focus is on introverts, and I feel weird if I complain about being an extrovert because introvert online sometimes comes off, maybe this is not what you're saying, but I'm going to take a stab and see. Introvert is definitely like a point of pride for some people, or it's a let's say it's either like a point of pride or it's a badge or it's a I don't know how I want to describe it exactly, but like there's so much like banding around introvert that I feel wrong for being an extrovert sometimes. With the pandemic happening now, I think like I would never run around going like, "How does it feel being you must be on top of the world being an introvert. It's everything you want." I would never do that. But I feel I'm scared to talk about my troubles as an extrovert because the cool thing, and I don't want to say the cool thing, is that like it's just I don't know. I don't have the words for it, so I should be very careful. But like introvert, it's not cool to be an introvert, but introverts are very online. There is a section of the internet for introvert, and I don't feel right talking about being an extrovert because it doesn't feel like anybody wants to hear about it. It's almost like being an extrovert is treated as privilege. Like I shouldn't even talk about it because I'm lucky to be an extrovert, and I don't feel lucky to be an extrovert. I go crazy without contact from people, and more people in my life are introverts. So I can't, like Jess is an introvert. When Jess has to work all day, and then when they're out of work, they need to recharge. And I have been starving for interaction, and I can't, talk to them because I'll devour them with my amount of need. But like I don't have anyone else to talk to. Like I can't go out. I can't do any of that stuff. And once it's 5 o'clock, everyone's off work. So they go back to their families and stuff like that. Bleh. Let's check the chat. James, I can't imagine coming home and have people be there. I like what you're saying, Pedro. It's too big of some people's identities. That's kind of where I'm at. Bambury, let's say me being an introvert has made self-isolation much easier. Yeah. Yeah. But this is why I like the streaming thing, because we're having like real conversation where, and sometimes like when I'm playing a video game, it is hard to have real fucking talk while I'm getting the shit kicked out of me by like a triple decker fucking Shinra robot. I can't do it. I can't. Sometimes I need to focus. Like that's why I like the Game Grumps approach to Let's Plays and live streaming and stuff, because like someone can take over the talk while the other person focuses on beating the boss. But yeah, so I really want to keep doing this, and I think I want to create a schedule. I don't know, maybe I do this daily. I thought about that a lot. I thought about like doing a morning check-in, so everyone gets a chance to just kind of unload, talk for a minute. I don't know. I like the idea of that, or I just want to schedule at least, you know. But I think what I'm probably going to do once I get my station set up, I really want to work on my comic again. I actually have a new comic. I want to get in on that, and I think that'll probably take the place of the streaming. That I'll be live drawing constantly. Whenever I draw, I'm probably going to try to live draw it, I think. So I don't know. Yeah. I will tell you though, like, it's funny. I love this. I love streaming. I think about it all the time. I read about it all the time. A new comic wins a Patreon launch. You know, James, I'm going to talk about that real quick. I would love to do a separate Patreon, but I don't know that it's feasible because I know what I want to. If I do a full on Patreon, I want to put a lot of time into it. And I think that at this point in time, it might be hard to juggle the two Patreons. And so I think I'm just going to tuck the comics into World Walkers. I don't like how that feels. It feels too mixed in. People go like, oh, wait, what? And now there's comics, I guess. But I'm going to put the comic stuff at the $3 tier on World Walkers. So we at the base tier, people can get everything they want. That way, like, no matter what level you are, you're going to get everything. And then, like, that way, if somebody wants to join, they come in and they get that, and they also get World Walkers. I also thought about, I have a coffee that's, for those who don't know, it's like Patreon, but it's like a tip jar. And I think you can turn it more and more into a Patreon, but I think I might just put that up. I've previously not wanted to do coffee because I think that if you were given the choice between coffee and Patreon, you'd probably just throw me a couple bucks. That's cool, but I don't need a tip. I need income. Like, so I don't want to encourage people to not give me. I'd rather have $1 every month than $5 twice a year. You know. That's only $2 extra. But you get what I'm saying. So I haven't committed to a second Patreon yet, even though I totally have, like, I wonder if I can pull it up real quick. I totally have, I wrote up everything. I found it hanging out yesterday. I was looking through my Google Drive, and we're going to pull it up. Is it here? This is it. Okay. Totally going to bootleg this real quick. It's going to look so silly. Chrome. I'm just going to like literally like drop it on here. So this, wow. Let's put my face back in here. Okay. So, yeah, this is it. So I had like the whole description written up, and I had some comics. I talked about what was going on with me and why you'd want to do it. And then these little images I came up with, and then what kind of rewards you would get. I don't even remember. I like this one. This is my favorite box, but I can or won't. And yeah, I had tiers written up. Let's see. Oh, and then I had a video I was gonna do here. I was gonna have Jess and Willow in it, and I was gonna like the end was I guess about me trying to use the cats and Willow to sell Patreon. That's funny, but yeah, that was it. I have it all written up, like. And I've got more somewhere else. Oh, yeah, at $20 a month, you were going to be in Rule Zero. $10 a month, higher resolution downloads. Nobody would pay for that. Like, that's garbage. I would not do that anymore. Behind the scenes and comic collections. Yeah, that's interesting. I was gonna like share like the PDFs, and then I don't know exactly what else. In the new one, I was going to add a podcast, and it was going to be either me and Wes or me and Marcus or me and Megan, or it was going to be me bringing in guests every month, and it was going to basically you could put in your see. This is the thing. See how big it's getting? Like, I can't do all this with everything happening. So, and I don't feel right setting up a Patreon just as a tip jar. I mean, I guess I could, but coffee. So I might rely more on coffee. There's the comic where the guy waits for chocolate milk. I'm already in the comic. That's true. That's true. But I can or won't. That's my favorite. Anyway, and yeah, so it was weird. I've done nothing but tell Jess how much fun I had streaming last time, and I'm probably gonna do it again because this is super fun. But I was right before I got on, I was super nervous. I don't know why. Like I was like, nobody wants to watch this stuff, but I like doing it, so I don't care. I'm probably gonna set up another YouTube channel, and that'll be just for me and the art and stuff. And then World Walkers is going to be like we're switching hosts. So World Walkers is about to get all of the episodes on the YouTube. I found a host that will post, like, once I bring them over to that new feed, it'll just boom dump every episode. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I keep going back to comics, and I want to say something about that. Because every now and then somebody will be like, well, you do Rule Zero, you do World Walkers. Why do you care? Like, you're already doing something that's working out for you. And comics are always going to be like my first love. Comics helped me a lot in high school. Doing the comics, like, helped me connect with a teacher who helped me understand creativity and we didn't have the term back then, but punching up and speaking truth to power. He liked that my comics shit on the administration, the principal, anyone who had it better than anyone else. Like, he come to find out, he fought in Vietnam, and then came back and protested the war once he was there, and he came, like, he's hardcore. He's a writer. He's a poet, or he passed away. And he really encouraged me to pursue this because I didn't think it was going to be anything. I just wanted to draw and make fun of people. But he was like, your voice needs to be heard, was the thing he told me before I left school. Like, you can't ever stop doing comics. You are going to find your voice more and more, and you have things to say. You have a perspective. Hey, what's up, Underfold? Brian. He said, you have a perspective, you have a voice that needs to be heard, and you have a perspective that needs to be seen. Don't ever stop. And I stopped. So I actually stopped, and then he died. And I felt terrible. I actually spoke at his funeral, and I told some of these stories. But like, yeah, comics, I always come back to comics. Like, as much as I like podcasting and stuff like that, there is a version of my life where I am a successful web cartoonist and I put a podcast out on the side. So that is what it is, I guess. There we go. So I'm always thinking about comics and stuff, but I still do like World Walkers, obviously. I just struggle, like I said, and I talked to Brian about this a little bit. Maybe it was more of an adjacent conversation yesterday. But I keep going back to what I said earlier in this conversation. I want to make something that punches someone in the gut. I want to make something that has an impact, and I want to be able to see the impact. I'm at a point in my life where I've been doing World Walkers for 4 years, and I want to see that people care. I had this. Did I talk about this last time? I don't remember, but I'll keep it brief. And if you guys want more, ask me. But I told one part of the story. I did not tell this part. When I spoke to the chaplain in the hospital, and this was it was right after I had a conversation with my doctors, and one of my doctors told me, like, you know, you do, like, she wanted to be really, really open and honest. I'll be honest right now. I didn't need to hear all that right away. I was in the middle of trying to recover. We didn't need to have this big conversation, but she insisted. And she said, you know that your cancer is terminal, right? And I said, yeah. She's like, you know this is how you're going to die. Like, one day, this will take you. And I said, yeah, I know. And it's like, but have you dealt with it? Have you processed it? And here's the answer. I have. I've had 3 years, guys. I've had 3 years to think about this. When I first got diagnosed, I was told 3 to 6 months. I didn't tell anybody. So yeah, I've it's come up in my own head a few times. Yeah. But she was like adamant about talking to me about it and wanted to talk to me about hospice care, which is what happens when you focus on comfort over treatment. And like, I'm in the middle of like terrible pain. I don't want to talk about all this right now. You know, that's what I was thinking in my head, but she was on a roll. I didn't stop her, but like, she got like real, I don't want to say dark, but like real heavy with like what it's like when you decide to focus on quality of life for the few months or weeks or whatever you have left. And right after that conversation is when I talked to the chaplain. And I think I said previously in another stream, the chaplain, every hospital has a religious type figure who comes and speaks to you as much as you want. They don't bring up religion unless you want to, I guess. But which I did. It was a really cool conversation. As someone who's not a believer, we had an amazing discussion. It was really cool. But, you know, we talked and previously I had talked about like him encouraging me to tell my last story. And then when I get done with that story, tell the next one and stuff. And it was awesome. But the other thing we talked about was the wrestling with the idea of like, why do I create? In 1 second. Willow, do you have math? Okay.
I don't believe so because
Of the testing. I thought so too. Okay. All right. I love you. So, we talked a lot about why I create specifically. And I told him, I don't need likes to confirm that I'm worth it. I don't need likes to find out if I'm good or not. Door's closer than it seems like. Yeah. I have the secondary door too. Whoosh. It's got, can you see on the camera? Extra cabling and wires and stuff. I can't see it up there, but I got like extra XLR. I've got my nunchucks, my illegal nunchucks, stuff like that. Anyway, so we talked about like why I create and stuff, and I told him like I don't need likes to validate me in that, like, to find out if the stuff I did was any good. Sounds cocky, but how have I never seen that door? I don't know. You guys have never noticed that door? Yeah, that's right. I don't know. But I told him, like, it sounds cocky, but I know my stuff's good. I like it. Anyone that listens to it likes it, as far as I know. Unlike my comics, No one's ever listened to my podcast and gone, ugh, Pedro, I have some notes. People generally like it when they hear it, or they don't tell me they don't like it, which I'll take too. I need the likes and the conversation to know if this is the thing I should be doing. Like I've always said, I'm an entertainer, not an artist. I need people laughing. If I'm doing stand up, I can't just do it and walk out and no one does anything. Because like I have a ton of ideas. If this is the thing that doesn't work, I'll do the next one. So like if I found out that nobody cared about World Walkers, people stopped listening. If I see that no one's talking about it, I'd rather kill World Walkers and do another podcast. You know what I mean? Like I got a ton of ideas. Like fuck it. You guys are here. Here's some ideas. Some of you have already heard these before. Some of you have not heard any of these before. But like I got an idea for a podcast. Some of you guys know this one called The Gears of Cog. And what I want to do is I want to have a group of adventurers riding in an airship, right? That tries to never land. It's an airship that carries the outcasts of Cog. Okay? The airship, when the people of the airship find somebody that has no home, they take them on board. And you play a group of adventurers that have found themselves, found a family, found a people on this airship. And the airship has like this mysterious captain who's put all this together. And no one really seems to know anything about him or how the airship works and stuff like that. And it's about family, it's about bonds, it's about companionship, and it's about having each other's back. But it's also about learning all of the secrets of Cog. And it's about like knocking out some of these stories that we keep getting lost on. We start introducing these cool little story tangents and they don't get picked up on because everyone's world hopping, you know? And so the idea would be to put every time the group sits down to talk about what to do next, you take these ideas and they're basically different quests. Like, okay, so like they get a lead on the Talon, the terrorist-like organization of druids that are trying to rip down civilization on Cog. They learn something new about the Brotherhood. They learn about the doppelgangers, and they learn about the Forged. And then the listeners vote on what story happens next. I love World Walkers, but if no one's... See you later, James. If nobody wants to listen to it, or if nobody wants to talk about it, like if people listen to it the way that they read Ziggy in the fucking newspaper, done. I don't have to tell it. Like I'd rather tell something. People, oh fuck, I need that. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like I got tons of ideas. You know, I've got a Rolanus campaign, and it takes place with the Cortex rule system, possibly. I haven't decided yet, but it's way more narrative based. It works off of rule of cool, but it also is like struggling with the ramifications of what's happened to Rolanus since it's been destroyed and rebuilt. Essentially, the meta plot of like what happens when somebody else starts writing your story. You know what I mean? Like there's a new author, essentially. I mean, not literally, well, kind of. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, and then I have the story engine over there, right? And I would just Rolanus would be a game of pulling those cards and running everything improv. That's like interesting to me. That's fascinating. I can run that instead of World Walkers, like World Walkers Prime, whatever you want to call it, you know? If only I could be Data and play in all the games. I mentioned it in the last one, but like, I'm excited about Final Fantasy. I'll be running Final Fantasy on Mondays. Did I say that out loud yet? I think I did. I think I said it in the last stream. Yeah. There's a bi-weekly game that's going to be coming up. I'm going to be opening up slots, and it's a Final Fantasy based game using the D&D 5e rules that this guy wrote. That it's a pretty tight write up. I really like it. I'm not the expert on how well balanced all of it is, but it works pretty well by all accounts. Maybe one class is a little better than the other one, but honestly, like, I don't care about that level of balance after a while. You know what I'm saying? But like the guy who wrote the rules, I talked to him about making it a podcast, and he said when I turn it into a podcast, he's going to help push it. That's exciting. That's a whole new set of eyes. I'm pumped, you know? I'm not replacing World Walkers with that one. That one's going to run simultaneously. But, you know, like, these are the things that I'm excited about. These are the things that I want to do. And I really want to sit down and focus and figure out, like, what does everyone care about? Like, deep down. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you guys actually give a shit about? Like, I could put out a basic podcast, and I think a number of us would hang out and listen. That's cool, man. I'm wrapping this up myself, actually, too. So I'll see you later, Brian. But, like, I want to find out, like, what are we excited for? The next campaign is coming up. World Walkers, the next season. If you think about it, we're not that far. Like, we're on the threshold. Like, the group's got their affairs in order. The only thing they have left to do is to do it, to go into Mercurius, and let's wrap this up. Like, once this storyline's done, that's the end of the campaign. I'm starting a brand new campaign. I'm really excited about what's coming up, but like, if no one cares about it, if I can't tell anyone cares about it, like, I would rather run one of those other things, you know? So I'm kind of babbling at this point, but I guess like it feels good to open up about it and talk about it. And I think like, hopefully by opening up and talking about it, I hope that what I do is encourage anyone listening, watching, or checking this out later to take a second and ask themselves what they're doing and if they like all the things that they do. I don't know if this works or not the way I'm going to say this, but like, as someone, I'm really focusing on what I want to do. I kind of mentioned this earlier, I'm no longer happy with the idea of like one day people will find my stuff and fall in love with it. I want to see it happen now. There was a time when that was really, really interesting to me. Almost like romantic. Somebody would find this stuff years later and go, man, who was this guy? We really missed out. That felt good. Right now, no. I'm excited now. I want to like create the coolest stuff for all of us. And that's how I feel. Like, I feel like it's us. Like, I don't need a big audience. I like us, you know, as long as like people are paying attention, as long as our group is active, our community is active, and as long as I have enough money to pay the things I have to pay, it's enough. I just want to make sure I'm making the coolest stuff for all of us. And I guess that's about all I have to say on it. The only thing I worry about is how much COG people want. I don't know how much COG you guys want. I had someone once say, I've had a few people say like, man, there's a lot of COG out there right now. I can't help it. It's really fun, especially when the Savage World Pathfinder rules come out. That's probably where I'm tucking COG in, depending on how good a job they do. But I don't know. That's about all I got. I'm going to check in with Willow. I'm going to go check in with Jess and see how they're doing. But thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for taking some time to just listen to me ramble. I really like these. If you guys like these, let me know. Like, leave a comment below or some shit. Or like head on over to Discord. Like, talk about it over there and see if we can get more people excited about it. But I like these. I'm gonna keep trying to do these, and if I get a schedule hammered out, I'll let you guys know. But for now, that's it for me. I will see you all later. Thanks for hanging out. See you later.